All right, guys. Today we're going to have our Halloween special. And I'm going to be talking about things that used to scare me as a kid. So, this might bring back some old memories if you were born in like the 2000s. So, just hang on with me and maybe you'll even relate to me. And if you did, write it down in the comment section below. And by the way, go ahead and subscribe and like the video. It helps me a lot. And if you do, I'll give you a free cookie. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So, first thing that comes to mind is the THX logo. Remember that thing that used to always play during like Pixar movies? Yeah, those. You know, where it went. That used to scare me a lot as a kid. And scariest part about it is because I'm autistic, is what it is. And it was that noise, how creepy it sounded and everything. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is, believe it or not, the MGM logo. This logo had a lion roaring, and it was very loud, is what it was. And the version I did was when I watched Pink Panther cartoons. I was a big Pink Panther fan as a kid. So that kind of made me love Pink Panther, but I was very afraid of that logo. So, and it would play after every single cartoon on the DVDs. So, I was kind of scared of like that lion was going to come out of the TV or something. And it was so afraid and everything. Got over it at age 5. I didn't get done with the THX logo though until I was like 8. So that says a lot about me. Next one I'm going to say is deleted scenes. Now, Pixar deleted scenes, there's a lot that comes to mind. When we're talking the two deleted scenes of two movies that I would watch deleted scenes to try not to get scared were the two movies Cars and The Incredibles. My two favorite movies as a kid. My favorite Pixar movie. Go and be mad at the comment section if you want. It's Cars 2. I know the most hated one, but that one's my favorite. Laugh at me all you want. Anyway, the ones in the Cars franchise were Lost and Community Service. Lost was more scary than Community Service, but what happened was in Lost is that eventually they were going to make the scene where Lightning McQueen goes to Radiator Springs, but he takes the wrong turn to go to the interstate. And he gets hit by a rough road, makes him go off road, go into a ditch, with all these broken cars, and then eventually seeing just dead corpses of cars. And you gotta think, in the Cars franchise, they're like humans. So you're seeing a lot of dead bodies, which creeped me out because I was like, oh snap. What if those cars would be hunting like zombies and then would eventually kill Len McQueen to be part of their brethren. But they were just dead on trees and everything, and I was afraid, like at some point, there would be some car that would just die by a tree. But really, it was the trees that were overtaking the cars. And the scariest part was when the hood of a car goes by and attaches to Len McQueen. This scene was kind of kept, which I kind of am glad that they kept somewhat of this scene, but it was of Stan Lee's statue that was attached to Lightning McQueen when he went to Radiator Springs. But then he was going to go to the wrong road that way and then kind of go to Radiator Springs that way. Because in the movie, if you watch it, you'll see a mistake that he kind of goes to the same road, and for some reason it has that Route 66 sign on it. I never understood that as a kid, but this scene was supposed to help that. But since it was cut out to be too scary for little children, even though the movie was for young drivers and little children, they just decided to just cut the scene out because it seemed a little too scary for a G-rated film. The community service, however, is a dream sequence. Now, I'll enjoy a dream sequence here and there. Like, I'm pretty good with dream sequences, but if it takes away screen time from the story, that's when I get mad at it. And I'm a big movie guy, okay? So, I'm a movie nerd. So, take that what you will. The biggest thing about this is that Lightning McQueen has a nightmare that he is going to switch bodies, put his engine, which for some reason is like their whole personality and everything. This is lore that was never shown or anything. And then put into a steamroller. That's so he could do community service. But this scene was gonna kind of be in between events. Like, you know how in the movie, Lightning McQueen was it was his idea to do a race. Well, in this version, he wasn't gonna do the race, even though he was into racing, which was weird. I don't know why they thought of this, but he just decided to do that community service because it seemed easier. Because I guess they were going to announce that he was a little more wise, that he never driven on a dirt road. I guess. I don't know. They didn't say anything in the commentary of the beginning of it, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm glad this was cut out because, man, it would have been terrifying on screen. Same thing with Lost. But this one didn't scare me that much. I mean, I got over my fear after the first time I watched it. So, it was pretty good. But he's just constantly screaming in this. And feel free to YouTube these things. Like, these deleted scenes and stuff I was afraid of are on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, go check them out and see if they were that spooky or not. I know the MGM one is probably not going to be the scariest. It's just a lot of roaring. But I had an HD TV, CRT TV, so that kind of tells you something. Anyway, Mater takes his body, and then he be's a whole jerk in this. I thought this was just so unlikable of him. And for some reason his engine doesn't work because his engine is in the body, so it can't be fits for some reason. And he takes Lightning McQueen's place, and they take the wrong one, making Lightning McQueen stuck. But of course, it's a dream sequence, and believe it or not, they were gonna do that, so it could have happened, which is pretty bad in my opinion, because that makes it like a what if situation. Like, oh snap, this could have actually happened. But after all that, let's go on to The Incredibles. Now, a lot of people have said that they love The Incredibles, how they had a bonus DVD, because Brad Bird wanted a lot of stuff for bonus material, because he felt like having just the movie and just some bonus material was just not that good. So he just decided to put a bunch of stuff onto one disc, and there's a lot of hidden stuff. I recommend you get the disc combo. It's the one I have, and I loved that as a kid. Like, it was probably my favorite DVD I ever had, just because of that bonus material. And I would always play around with it because there was just so many games and extra stuff. They have more complimentary than any movie I ever seen ever since, because they go over how the music was composed, how the animation was made, how the voice actors made these ideas and everything, behind the scene details. Like, it's amazing how much Brad Bird did on this DVD. But anyway, enough about that. This ain't the video for that. It's some other video for another time, if I ever make it. So, the funniest thing about this is that he made sure, like, every deleted scene was on here. Because some companies just like to keep some deleted scenes away from some people so they don't see the actual deleted scenes. Like, from my understanding, Illumination doesn't really do deleted scenes, from my understanding. Because if you look at their DVDs, there's literally none deleted scenes. So they either keep them hidden or they just don't do them at all. Anyway, so the thing is with this one is that I'm going to do the first one. The original opening scene. Syndrome was originally going to be not a twist villain until Brad Bird was like, it would just be much better if we did a twist villain, because not much people did twist villains back then. Because you gotta think, this was around when twist villains wasn't very popular and stuff was still like that. But after a couple of things, they actually did like more of it. So they kept on doing more of the superhero aspect in this. And Syndrome was going to be the big bad. And I don't know how the movie would have played out this way, because if you change the beginning, literally the whole movie gets changed. So we could have got a totally different movie. It would be pretty cool if Brad Bird made an alternate timeline version where he kept that scene and just made the movie that way. That would actually be pretty cool. But I doubt Pixar would ever do that. But fan animations can do it, so feel free to do that. You just got Cameron Thomas approved. So, yeah. Anyway, what happened is we actually saw more of Syndrome being a bit bad, so that's pretty much it. But feel free to look at more. Now the next one, Bob in Traffic. not that scary. Just the way Mr. Incredible sounded just kind of maybe unsettling. Like, it didn't scare me, but it was a little unsettling. Next one, probably not going to be that bad. Choppers, just saying. It's a very intense scene, and Brad Bird really wanted us to be in this movie, but again, he couldn't do it because he was afraid it would take up too much screen time. He was trying to make the big bads look very serious, and it really does seem that way. Like, I was so intense and everything because they're trying to check if there were any survivors. It happened off screen, but literally this scene did kind of exist.